Hi, this is Burr Stewart, and follow along with me while I change the coin battery in my NCE PowerHouse Pro DCC control system for my model railroad. Now, you're familiar with how much fun it is to run trains, or you wouldn't be watching this channel. But for every beautiful running train, there's infrastructure behind it. In the case of locomotives, you have to keep the wheels cleaned and lubricate it once in a while. In the case of a DCC system, like NCE, every 5 years you have to replace the coin battery, or when you power down the system, it will forget all of the settings for your consists and everything else, and you have to log your consists back in, which would be very tedious if you have a number of consists, which I do. So it came around to being 5 years from the last time I did this, and I thought I would show you how easy it is and a couple pitfalls along the way. You can see I'm just getting settled by my electronics area here, and the important thing is when you replace the battery, you have to make sure the system is turned on. You can hear a steam engine in the background proving to me that the system's working. And it's powered up. And the reason you have to replace it when it's powered up is because it would otherwise lose all the data when you took the coin battery out of it. So in order to make it easier for myself, I disconnected the RS-232 cable that we sometimes use to connect the system to the computer. It's a little scary pulling this out of all of that wiring, but we did it. And you'll notice there that I keep a log of each time that I replace the battery so I can remind myself when it's the next time. Now, the first thing you have to do is remove all of the screws, all 4 of the screws that hold the case on. Pulling out these screws is a little easier than putting them back in, but I'll speed up the video so you don't have to watch me do all 4 of these screws carefully. There we go. Got them all out. Now the next thing we do is slide the case off very carefully, making sure we don't touch anything inside all those circuits. I think I'll show you a close-up of the inside of the PowerHouse Pro Command Station. You can see some pretty big circuits there, and I'm pointing to the coin battery that we need to replace every 5 years. It's a 2032 standard coin battery. The manual recommends that you put some papers down so that if the battery comes out accidentally, you don't want it to accidentally short out one of the circuits. And this could easily happen because, of course, we have the system turned on. So if any metal were to get in there and touch something, it could potentially destroy one of the circuits, one of the integrated circuits, or cause a big problem. So I just used a few car cards to give me a little bit of a safety cushion there. Now, prying out the coin battery takes a small screwdriver, but I recommend holding onto the battery because when I did it, it popped out and fell down. See that? Ooh, that's really scary. I could have easily damaged the thing, even though I had the paper there. I suppose I could have taped it in place. And then inserting the new battery is very simple. You just push it in against the base and click it. And we're now basically done with it. But of course we have to carefully put it all back and test it. So first we take the papers away. Then we slide on the cover. And the most difficult thing about this whole process is getting the cover screws back in place, because the cover has a little bit of a spring to it, so the holes don't line up without a bunch of fussing. So I'll spare you all that fussing and speed up the recording once more. Yeah, I was putting them in by hand and then tightening them up with a screwdriver. And of course, once I got all 4 of them in, I could tighten them all. Very good. You notice that card on the back is where I keep my record of when I replaced the coin battery. And that's pretty much the next step here, is to write the current date. Today's date on there. This is not unlike maintenance records you might see on a furnace. My next coin battery will be due in 2029. And there's a thumbs up for a job well done. Although it's a little premature because we need to get the system back in place without doing any harm. I suppose I could have turned the system off at this point instead of leaving it on. That would have been smart. So there I've got my RS-232 cable back in, and the all-important cab bus, which goes to all of the throttles, and the wireless throttles as well as the plug-in throttles. Well, with that, our layout seems to still be running. And let's go over to the Interbay yard and test a couple of locomotives just to make sure everything is still working well. It's a good idea to power down the system and then power it back up in order to do this test, so you can confirm that the coin battery is actually doing its job. First, we'll select this Jeep. And I'll try to show it to you on the side there. Number 713. Very good, that seems to be working. Give it a little bit of a throttle command. Now, I mentioned before that it's really the data about the consists, that is, the multiple locomotives that are lashed up together, that we want to save with these coin batteries. So let's try those 2 brand new CB&Q GP30s there and see if that consist is still working. I entered 949, which is one of the 2 engines there. It seems to be working. Very good. Couple horn blasts, some engine sound. Very nice. So now you know how to replace the coin battery in your NCE PowerHouse Pro system. And I hope you remember to do it every 5 years, just as I am trying to do. Despite all the temptations to do more fun things, once in a while you have to do infrastructure. So for now, this is Burr Stewart wishing you much fun with trains.